happened in the last week or two. As I am getting ready to finish up my last month on JET, I've gotten a lot of updates from the school office, a lot of paperwork, so I'm just going to try and run through some of that. First, and potentially most important, I finally got my flight ticket taken care of. This took like a month. I gave them the paperwork and I don't know why, but it just took like a really long time. When you're leaving the JET program, your school or your contracting organization, Board of Education, will usually pay for your flight home so long as you have completed your contract. And the way that happens, there's usually two different ways. Either one, you purchase the ticket and your school refunds you, or two, they purchase it on your behalf and then just give it to you. And that's the category I fell into. My school went through a travel agency to get the ticket. I don't know why. I guess that's a thing that they just go through travel agencies here. I'm not sure why a travel agency would take a full month to purchase a ticket, especially right now when like not really anybody's traveling, but I don't know, whatever. They had to do some back and forth a little bit to make sure they had like my passport information correct, and the important thing is I have that now. And the reason that was so important that I have that was because I needed it to fill out my shipping paperwork. I have a lot of stuff. I'm a pack rat. I've got a lot of books, clothes, souvenirs, craft supplies. I just aggregate a lot of items. To be fair, I've been here for 4 years, so I have 4 years worth of stuff that I'm trying to get back. So I went with a shipping company to help get my stuff home, and I'm using Japan Luggage Express. But in order to send my stuff, I needed to have my flight ticket. So even though I had already packed up everything like beginning of June, I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't send it until I filled out the paperwork, and in order to do the paperwork, I needed my flight ticket. So as soon as I got my flight ticket, I was rushing around trying to fill out all of this paperwork, had contract, statement of compliance, packing list, super important. I had to do like a really detailed packing list. This was actually really annoying to do because the forms they emailed me were like formatted really badly. Like I couldn't print them, and like this is like a common thing when Japanese keyboards type in English, the font they use is like awful. So I had to go through and like reformat everything just so that I could fill it out and print it and sign it and actually have it show up on the page properly. But I basically spent an entire day at school just working on this paperwork and getting it set in. And yeah, part of that, like I said, was like super detailed packing list. I had to give monetary values for everything, so I just came up with arbitrary numbers, like, I don't know, bag of clothes is like $10, whatever. So I filled out all that paperwork, emailed it to them, and got the pickup scheduled, and that was for Tuesday, which I ended up taking a half day off from work because they were supposed to arrive between 1 to 3. And of course, whenever they tell you a time window that they're going to arrive in, they don't arrive in that window. They were like 2 hours late. They didn't arrive until 5, but whatever, I don't care. My boxes are gone, and that is why I am sitting on the floor and enjoying all my floor space. I have my floor space back. It's so exciting. Like, all of a sudden my apartment feels so much bigger again. It's a big weight off of my mind because now I can move on to the next things I need to take care of. And one of those next things was pension paperwork. School gave me a nice stack of pension paperwork. This is actually mostly just the explanation, and it's the English and Japanese explanation. The actual pension form is just, I believe it's just one form, and I've already mostly filled it out. So that's mostly taken care of. The other side to that is I have the designated tax representative paperwork that I need to fill out, which one of my JTEs is going to be my tax representative here. We have a good relationship, we chat a lot. I've got her email in line, so she's been really good and is looking into this stuff to make sure she understands it and make sure that we figure out the best way for me to get my money back home. So kind of still in the middle of working on that. The other side of the pension paperwork is that for the process of submitting it, you need to send proof that you aren't living in Japan anymore. And there's like 2 ways you can do that. One way is that after you leave the country, you send, I guess it's like a copy of your passport that shows your departure stamp. You have to mail that back, and then that gets submitted with everything. But the easier way to do that is if you go to your city office before you leave, and I don't know if it's a form or if you just have to like notify them, but you go to the city office to tell them that you are moving out, you're leaving, and then they will send that information to the pension office. So that is what I plan on doing. I can't do it yet. You can only do it like 2 weeks before you leave. So I'll have to wait a little bit longer. But once I do that, once I go to the city office and give them the notification, that means that I don't have to worry about sending that proof of no longer having residence in Japan. So once I fly out, my tax representative can just send the paperwork right after I leave, and then we don't have to worry about it for like 6 months until the pension money gets refunded to me. So, speaking of refunds, the office called me in and they had this whole long list of things they needed to talk to me about with regards to me leaving. Part of that was that apparently I get my deposit back for my apartment, which I don't remember paying a deposit. I'm not sure if this is part of my rent bills that I pay is like, it's like a part, there's like a couple different fees in addition to my rent that I pay, so I don't know if that's been like building up and I get that returned back to me. But basically it's like $1,400, which is really exciting because I wasn't expecting to get that. As long as there aren't any damages that need to be taken care of, which I think the only thing is like maybe a couple of light bulbs need to be replaced, but I should get most of that back. So I'll be getting my deposit back, which woo, happy for more money, which is important because I also got my last month's paycheck, and boy was that interesting. So I get this little paper that explains all the money that's taken out of my pay. I'm a 4th year jet, so I get paid about like $3,300 a month. This month, $1,600 of that got taken out for taxes. Basically my entire year's worth of tax for in Japan or for in Hyogo, whatever, got taken out of July's paycheck. Which I knew it would probably be like $1,000 or something. I was hoping to get like at least half of my pay. What I did not expect was that my health insurance and I believe that's maybe unemployment insurance weirdly was like doubled, or the bill for it increased for this month for some reason. So I've got like a $300 and like a $600 bill for insurance this month. I don't know why. I can't do anything about that, so I don't know. I guess I don't care. But yeah, so I only got about $500 for my last month's pay. So that's it's a good thing I'm getting that rent deposit back. And in addition to that, because of coronavirus, we didn't have some of our big staff dinners. So I get about, I think it's like about $20 or so pulled out of my monthly paycheck every month to go towards the social gathering fee. So this goes to pay for our big end of the year party, our Boninkai, and also for in April, when this academic year changes, a lot of teachers transfer in and out. And so usually what they would do is they would have like a big fancy dinner where they kind of say goodbye to the leaving teachers and they introduce the new teachers that have transferred in. But that didn't happen this year because of coronavirus. So I actually got my portion of that money refunded to me. So that's like another $80 back to me. So that was a nice surprise, I guess. So yeah, that's most of the office updates. So the other thing the office wanted to talk to me about was when I would be out of my apartment. So the way it usually works is the incoming jets should arrive about the same time as the leaving jets leave, and they would move into the leaving jets' apartments. So my contract ends July 31st, and usually around that time would be when my replacement would come. But this year is different. Originally, because of Olympics, the incoming jets were pushed back to like about September, and then because of, you know, everything going on with coronavirus, we're still like not 100% sure, like for sure, that they're going to be arriving in September. That's what everybody's hoping for, but we don't know for sure. The point is that nobody would be in my apartment, so it should have been okay for me to stay in the apartment until my flight. So my flight is August 4th. So that would mean I should have been able to stay in my apartment until August 4th. The problem was that the office didn't seem to know that my replacement wasn't arriving until September for some reason. Like, I've known incoming jets wouldn't be arriving until later for like a while. I don't know why the office didn't know that. I don't know if it's just because, like, this might be their first time that the current staff has dealt with ALTs changing over. But I don't know, I just thought it was a little bit weird that like jet information was not being clearly passed down the line. So at first they were like, oh, you can't stay in the apartment after your contract ends because we can't have two people living there. And I was like, there won't be two people. My replacement doesn't come till September. And then they needed to go back and confirm that like that was true. And then they were like, okay, you can stay until the 3rd, but you'll need to find somewhere else to sleep the night of the 3rd. And I'm like, why? Because if I'm already staying in the apartment an extra 3 days, why can't I stay the final night before my flight? You know, I don't want to be getting a hotel and trying to like go all over the place, you know, my last few nights in Japan. And they were like, we'll look into it. So when I went to the office for them to explain this whole long list of items to me, they asked one of the Japanese teachers of English, the JTEs, to come in to help translate. And so he was asking them, like, why can't she stay the last night? And they were like, well, we wanted to turn off the utilities. And again, I'm like, well, if you already have the utilities on for an extra 3 days, why not 4 days? I'm the one that's going to be paying the utility bill, so it shouldn't matter. And I'm going to, you know, have to leave my bank account open here, so like the money's going to be there. And they were like, okay, what if we turned off the utilities on the 3rd and you can sleep at the apartment, you just wouldn't have any electricity or presumably water? How about that? And I was like, how about no? I kind of need, you know, the electricity and the water so that I can, you know, get dressed and, you know, sleep with some AC on for the last night. And, like, I don't know why they were set on having the 3rd be the day that they cut off the utilities. Like, I don't know why that started. But they were asking, like, no, that obviously that wouldn't be very comfortable. And so then they were like, okay, what if we have the people for the utilities come to the apartment on the morning of the 4th, because my flight is in the afternoon. They're like, what if they came in the morning to turn it off, and then you just pay the balance in cash? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Sure. I've actually had to do that before when I studied abroad in Japan. I stayed at a dorm, and each dorm was individually contracted for, like, the water and electricity, I think. And my last day there, they came to turn off the utility, and I paid the balance for those few days into the month in cash. And so, like, I don't know why they just didn't do that from the start. I don't know why they had, like, the 3rd is the cutoff date was, like, the date they were trying to stick to. So I think we got that all covered. So I can stay in my apartment until the 4th. I will have the utilities through the morning so I can, you know, get ready in the morning and not have any issues. The only thing I'm a little worried about is that I guess they might be helping me pay for transportation to the airport. and I was just going to take the bus. But if I have to wait for the utility people to show up in the morning, that might make it a little bit difficult for me to get to the airport early enough. So that's still a little bit not sure. But minimum, it seems like I get to stay in the apartment and I'll have utilities. So that's good. Yeah, so they're going to turn off the utilities for me. I had to bring copies of my gas, water, and electricity bills because those have my customer number on them. So the office will take care of canceling that for me. And then I will have to cancel my phone and internet because I was the one that set those up. So that was one of the other things I took care of this past week. My internet and phone is contracted through AsahiNet. And for the internet, I was able to just go online and put in the cancellation request. I might have to call them to double check on that because it said like you still need to call. So I'll do that later. But I went ahead and canceled my internet. I will say that if you are leaving Jet, please make sure like a couple months before you leave that you double check all of your cancellation requirements. So for my internet, the way it worked was that if I put in the request after the 15th of the month, then that meant that the contract would be canceled at the end of the next month. So I wanted my contract to end at the end of July. So I had to cancel it in June, which I did. So just be like, make sure you read through the contract cancellation requirements that you don't end up having to like pay an extra month or, you know, miss like the deadline. For my phone, I still need to figure that out. It was a little bit like vague about when the phone service would actually be turned off. The way it was worded made it sound like when you ask us to turn off your service, we're just going to randomly turn it off. And I'm like, I'd like to have it through July. So I still need to look into that, but I actually pay for the phone service with my US credit card, and it's only like 20 bucks a month, so, you know, if I cancel it late, it's not a big deal. I'm not too worried about that. It's the internet that I really need to worry about because I'm going to need to send the router, send the equipment back, so I got that taken care of. So, yeah, I think that's most of all of the updates and the paperwork that I had to take care of. I don't know, things are starting to move a little bit quicker. I spent today filling out my schedule for this month, got all my classes put in my schedule. I have my lessons planned out pretty much, and I went ahead and took off, or submitted the paperwork to take off all the days I want to take off this month. So I have a bunch of paid leave left over. I only have like another week or two, about another 2 weeks of classes, and then it's exams. So basically like most of the second half of July I can just take off and I don't need to come to school. So I've submitted the paperwork for that. I'm going to be now working on cleaning my apartment thoroughly. The office is going to have to come and see the apartment. They need to confirm which items are school owned and which items I'm leaving behind. So at some point in like a couple weeks they're gonna come and check that out. So before that I need to get everything thoroughly cleaned. I need to like clean the air conditioning and get rid of, you know, the remaining things I need to get rid of. But yeah, it's really starting to move along. I think I've got like most of the paperwork taken care of, and now it's just, you know, all the miscellaneous packing. And so yeah, I've got most of the paperwork taken care of. The last thing is that I wanted to get a little bit more travel in. It's been a little bit weird because it's my last year in Japan and I really wanted to take advantage of that time to travel, and I haven't been able to really do that this year because of, you know, everything going on. And it's kind of a weird feeling. I don't want to say sad or, I don't know. I've been very lucky to be able to travel a lot while I was in Japan, pretty regularly. But it's just been so long since I've been anywhere. I basically haven't really traveled to go sightseeing since almost January, like, you know, New Year's. And I don't know, I've got like the travel itch. I want to get out, I want to go do stuff. But like also because I've just been at home for so long, it's almost hard to get out. Like I've gone down to the mall a few times, but like to actually go out and go sightseeing, it's like I'm like not used to it anymore, and I'm having a harder time just going out to do it. But the important thing is I did finally go out. This past weekend, after I spent that, you know, time at school filling out paperwork, I was able to get out to a local temple, and I got to go see a bunch of flowers. There's a local temple known for having a big hydrangea garden, and I just spent like a nice morning out taking pictures and walking around at the temple. So I'm going to go ahead and add those clips to the end of this video. If you hung around this long just to listen to me talk about paperwork, like, kudos to you. I hope you like hydrangeas. I'm gonna, like I said, add those clips to that here, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.